up? It's Reagan and welcome back to my channel. It's been like T-minus 3 months since I've been on here. So sorry about that. A lot has changed. First of all, I'm in America right now. Welcome to my teenage bedroom. And I cut my hair. I'm wearing mom jeans. I got my nails done for the first time in a year, and I'm shooting on my iPhone because my camera is back in England, so sorry about that. But I have a really exciting video for you because since I last talked to you, my TBR and book collection has grown exponentially. And today I am sharing with you all of the book series that I would like to read in 2021. Now my Goodreads goal this year is 50 books. If I were to read every book in all these series, I'd like double that. It's just not possible. Is it overly ambitious? Yes, absolutely it's overly ambitious. That's not even including all the new releases I want to read, all the standalones I want to read. Yeah, so I digress. We love overly ambitious TBRs. Also, look at this really cute Starbucks cup from Disney World that my aunt gave me for Christmas. I love this. Okay, so the books at the top of this list are my highest priority series. These are just living in my heart. Like, I want to read them so badly. And yeah, they're high priority, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to read them in this order because I am a really, really strong mood reader. So if I feel the need and want to read a book that's last on this list next, I will. That's just how I am. So let's get started. The first is So Far a Duology by Daniel L. Jensen, and that is The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen. I have read both of these. These are my first two reads for January. I loved this book. I love Daniel L. Jensen. She's an auto-buy author for me. I read her Malediction trilogy last year, and I have a review up on that on my channel, which I will link up above. And I also have her first book in her other series that's called Dark Shores. I don't know. This is what it is. That's back in England. I haven't read it yet. Seriously, she's such a good author. She writes really, really well. The second book didn't live up to my expectations. It was very fast-paced. It was a lot of plot. The characters didn't really vibe with me as much, but it's seriously so good. I would definitely put this in new adult, if not adult, for some sexual content, but amazing. So I read this. This was at top of my list. Next up, I am currently reading The Falconer, or The Faulkner, which is my maiden name, by Elizabeth May. Look how beautiful that cover is. I'm over halfway done. The second book is called The Vanishing Throne, and then the third book is The Fallen Kingdom. This is my favorite cover. It's so, so pretty. Yeah, super annoyed that when I ordered these, I ordered all hardback, and then a paperback came, so that bothers me, but I couldn't be bothered to send it back. So this is a series that I have been eyeing for several years. It's an older YA series. Let's check the print. Yeah, 2013 is when this first one came out, and it's blurred by Sarah J. Maas right on the cover, so you know, take that for what it is. She blurs everything. But the cover, like, the covers are cover porn. Like, it grabbed me. It's about a huntress of the Fae, who are evil in this series, and they're like demons, and there's all different kinds of them. There's like a whole species of different Fae, and she is a lady in Edinburgh, and she is beautiful, and she hunts them, and there's romance. And yeah, I've heard mixed things about this. I know that the fans of this series are like ride or die, but I've just watched a couple of book reviews, and if I find them, I'll link them down below, where these were given like 2.5, 3-star ratings, and I see why, because I'm over halfway done in this book, and I feel like I am reading the second book of a series. Like, the author jumped straight in with plot, and I don't feel connected to the characters at all. The writing is very simple. It's a lot of I this, I that, not a lot of descriptors, so I'm not vibing with it. I should have been able to read this book in a week, and it's taken me a week and a half, and I'm only on page 206, so I don't know. But I would like to love this. So that was number 2. Number 3 on my list is The Kiss of Deception. This is the first book in the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. This is another really beloved YA trilogy that I have known about and just never bought for some reason. I love this floppy paperback. Like, this is everything to me. I also, though, am a like snobby book collector in some senses, and I always want hardbacks, but I went to Barnes & Noble with my sister and she was like, you really want the book, just get it in paperback, because that's all they had. So I did. I got it in paperback. I know that this is about a princess, and I think there's a love triangle, and we're following multiple POVs, including two men. I think one sent to kill her, he's an assassin, and the other one is the prince that she's supposed to marry but ran away from. And that's pretty much all I want to know about this first book. Yeah, this just screams like YA goodness, plus the maps. Oh, I love a good map. I need a good map. Number 4 on my list of series I want to read this year is the Ember and the Ashes series. I don't know if there is a like overarching name for this series. There are 4 out. The 4th one just came out. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so it has a beautiful cover, love that, and then the maps are red, and then in the back I think there is a interview with the author, yeah, and like annotated notes of her writing, so that's really cool. This is a series that I have known about, but when I was like away from books for a few years following my head trauma, I just got back into books last year in 2020. I like knew about it, but I didn't really care to know about it because I wasn't going to be reading it. I just wasn't reading. But this is a book I bought as like a feel-good purchase. I paid full price for it because my grandmother passed away from coronavirus the 1st of this year. Yeah, not a fun New Year's. And this was just like a feel-good purchase. I just went into the store, I was really upset, and I just bought the first book that called to me, and that was An Ember and the Ashes. Heard amazing things about it, so yeah. Number 5 on my top priority list is A Song of Ice and Fire. I have all of these in paperback back in the UK, and I also have 2 exclusive editions that I bought for my husband, so I guess they're not mine, but I don't think he's gonna read them. He just likes to collect them because he loves Game of Thrones. But to get into George R.R. Martin's writing style, my brother got me this for Christmas. It's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and this takes place 100 years before the first book, A Game of Thrones. I'm currently re-watching the Game of Thrones HBO series with my husband. It's his favorite show of all time, and I watched it like first 3 seasons before my concussion, and then 3 years later I binge watched the rest of the series, and like nothing retained. I don't know. I want to love it. I want to love it like everyone else. So I'm going to read a epic adult fantasy, and that is A Game of Thrones. Number 6 on my list is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I have a lot of companion books, and I have art books. Same for Game of Thrones. I have a lot of like extra special books about the series that are like in the world back in the UK, but I haven't read them. I think I've just kind of been putting it off because I want to immerse myself in it. I want to watch the movies again, and then I want to read the books kind of at the same time. So that is a really high priority that I wanted to read last year, but I just wasn't in the mood for like a giant epic fantasy like that. So that is definitely on my list. Number 7 is Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. I think there are only 2 books out in this right now. I got this at Book Outlet. Oh my gosh, look at that. It says Let Them Fear Her. Oh, that's so pretty. I might just have to take off this dust jacket and display that. I think that this is kind of like a grim, dark fantasy. I haven't read a lot of reviews on it, but the cover calls out to me, and it has deckled edges, which I am a fan of. I know that not everyone likes that, but I certainly do. So I don't really know what this is about. I just bought it. It was like $3, so let me read you what it's about. It's about a girl who hears the whispers of gods in her head, a prince surrounded by desperate suitors and deadly assassins, and a monster hidden behind pale, tortured eyes and a smile that cuts like a knife. The path of these 3 characters become entwined in a centuries-long war filled with sinners, saints, magic, mystery, and a star-crossed romance that threaten to tip the scales between dark and light forever. I mean, this just sounds so juicy. This sounds exactly like something I would love, and I know the sequel is at Barnes & Noble, but it's not on sale, so I will read this and then I will get to the sequel. Hopefully I will like it. Next up on my list, I think this is number 8. I would like to read the Witchland series. I have Truth Witch and Wind Witch, the first 2 books by Susan Denyard. And these are kind of like a quiet series, I feel. Maybe I missed the hype when I was dealing with my head trauma, but I haven't heard anyone talk about these this entire year. And I've owned these 2 for about 4 years or so. They've just been sitting at my house in America. And when I came back, I was like, I'm going to read these books. Haven't read them yet. Kind of unsure what they're about. I know that there are witches in this series and that each of them have special powers. And I'm assuming that there's probably like a world, you know, like there's probably like a world chaos that's happening. So I'm not sure. I do know that her recent book in this series just came out, I believe, but I saw Blood Witch at Barnes & Noble and it didn't have this shiny cover. It had kind of like a matte cover, kind of like Bridge Kingdom. It's like, I don't know, this one's shiny and it didn't match. And so I was like, well, I don't want to buy it if it doesn't match. So I'm gonna have to find a shiny cover. But I think I got these at Books A Million a few years ago. Next up, I would like to read Children of Blood and Bone, and then Children of Virtue and Vengeance. Sorry if you can hear my dog, she's crying outside the door. And these are by Tomi Adeyemi, I think that's how you say it. I've had this book sitting in America for a long time, had never read it. I think I got this again from Book Outlet. Love the maps, and then look at that, like that's so pretty. And then I got this sequel just last week at Barnes & Noble because I got it 75% off. So I got it for $5. It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and then it has blue maps, and then in the back it has this like, I don't know, I haven't taken it out yet, but it's like an art print poster kind of thing, and I think it has an interview or something. I've heard amazing things about this first book, and I've heard really bad things about the second book, so I don't know. We'll see what I think, but I love the spines. Like, this looks so nice on my bookshelf, so happy I have both. Then I would like to read Malice by, I think it's John Gwen. That's an adult fantasy book, and I also want to read The Bear and the Nightingale, but I don't have those, so yeah. Next up, I want to read The Accidental Empress, and then Cece, An Empress on Her Own by Alison Pataki. I'm so bad at names. Yeah, covers don't match, not same format, but whatever. This one's beautiful. This is about a real life queen who was the Empress of the Habsburgs. I think she was from Bavaria, and she became the Empress of the Habsburg Empire. I've Googled her. She's very fascinating. And I believe one of her relatives, yeah, it was one of her relatives. I don't think, it might have been her grandson, who was Archduke Ferdinand, who was shot, that initiated World War I. I need to double check that, so this is the real fact. But I really want to read this because I love any historical fiction about a really strong woman, so that is on my list. I've had these sitting in America for a really long time. Also in America, I had The Star Touched Queen and A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chachki. I've heard mixed things about this as well. Again, it's blurred by Sarah J. Maas. She blurbs everything, so take that with a pinch of salt. I believe that this is a Arabian romance, fantasy romance, and I've heard mixed things, like I said, but they look like something I would like, so that's pretty much all I know about them. If you read these books, please let me know what you thought. I just saw these on my shelf here in America and thought, yeah, I want to read those. Then this next series is one that I read the first book when it came out. It is super beloved. I hated it. I thought that it promoted bullying and toxic relationships, but because of the hype and because of how many people love it, I don't know if that's bad of me to fall into hype or not, but I think it feels like something I should love because I love fae and I love fantasy, and you might know what I'm talking about, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I will give this book another chance, but if I feel the same way about it, I'm not going to continue on, and I will unhaul this book. I mean, it's beautiful. I want I want to like it. I didn't like it when I read it. I thought that Carden was, ugh. So I don't know, let me know what you think of this series if you've read it. And I would like to read Nevernight by Kristoff. This is another book I've had here on my shelf in America for a few years. This is a grimdark adult fantasy book. It's about a girl who's an assassin named Mia. I started reading this a few years ago, only got like a chapter in, but the chapter I read was like, oh, this is dark. So that's pretty much all I know about it. She's a kick-butt assassin, and I hear amazing things about Kristoff's work, and I want to read more adult fantasy, so this is definitely a priority for this year, considering, I mean, hopefully I'll get through all of these and then I can get to that. And then very last on my TBR for my series this year is another reread, and I read this first book, and I read this first book when it came out and didn't like it. I thought that it was tropey, it was too familiar. I thought it was very close to like a mashup of Hunger Games and a few of the other YA series that I'd read, and it just wasn't written as well. There wasn't a lot of exciting twists and turns, but it's been a while, and like with, you know, Holly Black's work, the fandoms for this are huge, so maybe I need to give it another chance. Plus the covers are gorgeous. You might know what I'm talking about. That is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I also have the next two in this series, which is Glass Sword and King's Cage, and I know that there's at least another novella and there's a book after this, if not another book. I mean, so pretty. They're both Barnes & Noble exclusives. I want to keep them. I want to love it, but I'm not going to force myself to read these if Red Queen is just not for me. I tried doing this with the Shatter Me series last year and hated it. I thought I wasn't gonna like it, and then I hated it. And I know I didn't like this, so am I crazy for giving it another shot? I don't know. Oh wait, no. I'm missing two series that are back in England that I really want to read, and the first one is the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. Yes, I've heard that this is kind of like a guilty pleasure, YA tropey, love triangles, switching back and forth, lots of POVs, magical, you know, young adult people running, that's a horrible description, running around, but I really want to read them. I have the first three in paperback, and I saw them in hardback, the next three, at Books A Million here in America, but I'm like, oh, they were on sale, they were clearanced out, and I really wanted to get them, but then I'd have to replace the ones I have. Yeah, whatever. But I have the first three in paperback. I started reading the first one right before I flew across here for Christmas, so it's back there. I think it's just going to be kind of like a cheesy something when I need to read something familiar. That's what I'm going to go towards. And then the second one that I forgot to mention was the Tudor Queens series by Philippa Gregory. There are a lot of books by her I want to read, but primarily I want to get to those. I have a few of them that I'm still missing, but I definitely can start them. I find them in a lot of charity shops, hardback, really nice condition back in the UK. So do want to get to those. Hi, it's future Ragan a month later in England editing, and I just have to say that I completely forgot like the number one priority on my list of series to read, and that is this one right here. Yeah, how did I forget it? Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I started reading the first 4 3 years ago before my head trauma, and then yeah, forgot it. So I'm starting over, and then I can finish this series. But yes, I will be reading this series throughout the entirety of the year, maybe 1 a month, maybe 2 every month. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna vlog it. So yeah, how did I forget that? So that was 16 series that I want to read this year. Yeah, and some of those are massive, like Game of Thrones. The Lord of the Rings isn't massive, but I've never read, you know, old fantasy like that, and Tolkien is pretty much the inventor of modern fantasy, I think. I don't know, I should call it old fantasy, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a lot of books, and I don't have that much time, so we'll see how many of these I actually get through by the end of the year. I'm gonna watch this video back and be like, yeah, you didn't read any of those, Ragan, or maybe I read all of them. I don't know, we'll be positive. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that bell icon if you'd like to see videos that I will be uploading, I promise, this coming week. I hope that your start to 2021 has been great, and much love to you. Bye.